Welcome back to the Inner Circle Show. In today's episode, we need to talk about what Elon's next plans are with Tesla, what Nvidia's CEO has to say about Tesla, and 10 reasons why you should buy Palantir. Or so this article says. All that and much, much more. But before we jump into that, please don't forget to like this video, subscribe to the channel, and turn your notifications on so you never miss an upload Monday through Friday. Elon has once again posted something on X that has made the entire Tesla retail community and actually Wall Street analysts lose their marbles. He posted saying this: "Working on the Tesla Master Plan 4. It will be epic." So we're going to dive into that. We're going to talk about what some predictions are as to what will be within this Tesla Master Plan 4. But before we get into that, let me just give you some background and some context in case you're new to Tesla or you just don't really know what the master plans are. Put simply, a Tesla master plan is a strategic document created by Tesla, outlining their long-term goals, visions, and steps necessary to get to where they want to get to. These plans are authored by Elon Musk, and you can kind of think of them as his vision board for his business. So with that said, so far, there have been 3 of them. There's been Master Plan 1, Master Plan 2, Master Plan 3, and now we've just had the announcement for Master Plan 4. The first one was released back in 2006. If you were a Tesla investor back in 2010 when Tesla went public, do let me know in the comments below. And you should honestly read this letter. It's literally like a personal letter written by Elon to you, and it's really, really interesting to actually see in the position we are now what has actually happened for Tesla that was initially laid out. So Master Plan 1 was called the Secret Tesla Motors Master Plan, just between you and me. And like I said, August the 2nd, 2006. So I do recommend you definitely read this whole letter. It's very interesting. But for the sake of time, let's just go to the bottom here. And what we can see, so in short, the master plan is as follows. Number 1, build a sports car. Do remember that this is in 2006. This is what they set out to do. Number 2, use that money to build an affordable car. Number 3, use that money to build an even more affordable car. Number 4, while doing the above, also provide zero-emission electric power generation options. Don't tell anyone. Tesla since then has obviously become a massive, massive company, so unfortunately the don't tell anyone didn't really work out. But let's just think about this for a second. Build a sports car. Okay, they've done that and we'll probably see another one in the future. Number 2, use that money to build an affordable car. They've done that as well. Use that money to build an even more affordable car. They have done that, but they're also still doing that if you think about it, because they're still using the money that they've generated to now reinvest and build the mass affordable vehicle that we should be seeing maybe unveiled on the 8th of the 8th. What that will look like, the exact specs, the exact details, the exact costings are not really known at the moment. But yeah, I do think that's going to happen. And number 4 as well has been achieved and is still being achieved. And the whole business plan at Tesla early on was to initially make a car that would sell, that would bring in money, and then reinvest that money, use that money to keep building more affordable models that the mass public would then want and could afford, so that EV sales went up and you could kind of over time replace internal combustion engine vehicles. And I would say Tesla have done extremely well. In my opinion, Tesla are, this isn't even an opinion, I don't think. I think this is fact. Tesla are the company that have made electric vehicles cool, affordable, reliable, and good. If you don't agree with that, do let me know in the comments below. But there is one other thing that I do want to point out in this letter. So what I want to read to you is these first couple of sentences. As you know, the initial product of Tesla Motors is a high-performance electric sports car called the Tesla Roadster. Might be seeing another version of this soon. However, some readers may not be aware of the fact that our long-term plan is to build a wide range of models, including affordable, priced family cars. Okay, so this is interesting. They want to build a range of models of affordably priced family cars. I guess you can look into this in depth or you can just take it at face value. But it's interesting because if you think about their lineup right now, I would say that they have actually done that. They have built a range of models that are moderately to, affordable price for most people, not everyone, of course. And, they're quite good for families, most of them. However, there is something missing that was pointed out on X by Holmar's catalog, Holmar's blog that you should be following if you haven't already. Great Tesla information. And he also posts videos of him trying out FSD on his channel. So check that out as well. But it's interesting because He said, "Hey Elon Musk, you're encouraging everyone to have a lot of kids," this whole population crisis that Elon talks a lot about, "but Tesla doesn't have a lot of options for big families. Model X has 6 or 7 seats, but that's higher end / expensive and still not as a large family with 3 or 4 kids needs. My cousin is having a third kid, and had to trade their Model Y up for a bigger car. They were disappointed that they couldn't find another Tesla to suit their needs. Perhaps a Tesla van or a cyber SUV that extends the Cybertruck platform with a third row of seating instead of a bed could round out the product lineup nicely." And I just thought this is such an interesting idea, because it is what the Tesla range is missing. And also, in the Gene Munster predictions for the Robotaxi event, he actually is predicting that one of the 3 vehicles that we will see unveiled will be a Tesla van of sorts that can seat between 8 and 10 people. Someone else also went back to this post and said, "Hey Elon, this is a real issue. I'm expecting my second child and can't imagine having a third in my Model Y. 3 car seats, diaper bags, toys, towels, strollers, plus I have a dog I like to bring along. We need a bigger vehicle. I'm stuck with 2 kids because I won't buy a non-Tesla." That's a pretty big statement. This person's not having more kids because she doesn't want to trade her Tesla for a different vehicle, a bigger option. But it does seem to be the thing that is missing in the lineup. So with this said, and with Elon's knowledge about the population crisis and how he is encouraging people to have more children, he should be offering a bigger vehicle, in my opinion. And I think he probably will. And this is kind of a gap in the market, and it will also open them up to new potential customers, people that have large families that otherwise wouldn't even be able to consider a Tesla vehicle. And especially if they're able to make that vehicle at least affordable. So then we move on to Tesla's master plan number 2, which was released in July 2016. So it came 10 years after number 1. Again, you can read this entire letter, but let's just scroll down to the bottom and see the summary. So in short, the second master plan is as follows: create stunning solar roofs with seamlessly integrated battery storage, expand the EV product line to address all major segments, kind of what we've just spoken about there, develop a self-driving capability that is 10 times safer than manual via massive fleet learning, enable your car to make money for you when you are not using it. This is so interesting. In 2016, they were already thinking about the future, and I imagine with quite a lot of certainty that back then in 2016, anyone that wasn't seeing the vision would have read this and thought, self-driving capability that is safer. Stop dreaming. Stop dreaming. That's ridiculous. Enable your car to make money for you. Oh, God's sake, that's ridiculous. Go and get a job. Like, it didn't seem real. It didn't seem like this was actually possible. Fast forward to 2024, which, fair enough, it has been quite a long time since then. But I would say that they have pretty much achieved these, if not are achieving these now. And this kind of makes me think, okay, well, if they had crazy dreams back then that seemed really like they would never achieve them, they seemed impossible, should we maybe be paying a little bit more attention to what they're thinking is going to happen next? And what they want to achieve next, even if it seems kind of absolutely unfathomable to most of us, yeah, maybe we should. And, we'll have to wait and see what is in the Tesla Master Plan 4. But we'll talk about that in just a second. And then came Master Plan 3, which came out in 2023. So remember that, 2006, 2016, quite a long time period between those two. Then 2016 to 2023, again, a reasonable time period. And now we're already having another one that should be coming out soon, or at least Elon is now working on it. The time between them seems to be getting shorter as we go on. Make of that what you will. But here is the Master Plan 3. And what you'll notice is this is actually a 41-page document. The other two that came prior to this were just a simple letter. Quite simple, quite short, quite simple, relatively easy to read. This is an absolutely ginormous document. So this one had a bit of a facelift. It's way more put together and there is a lot more in it. But again, I'm not going to read all this just because it is so long. What I would say about this is it's focused on a sustainable global energy economy. And they're really focusing on sustainable electricity generation and storage in this one. So a little bit different to the ones before. But again, if you think about what Tesla are trying to achieve, there are certain milestones that they need to reach to do that. There are certain things that they need to achieve. And this does make sense. So what do we expect for Master Plan 4? And do leave your predictions and your thoughts on this in the comments below, because it will be quite interesting to come back to this video once it's out and actually see what actually took place in the master plan and how many of you were actually correct. Well, firstly, they are getting more and more frequent. And like Elon said, they are not just writing a new chapter this time round, they're writing an entire new book. So I do think we're going to see a massive jump from what has taken place before. A massive jump in terms of difficulty and also a massive jump in terms of the impact on society. So I think Master Plan 4, as an overarching theme, will focus on artificial intelligence. Of course, it's the buzzword, it has to. It will focus on this idea of autonomy and robotics. It makes the most sense. We know what's coming for Tesla next. They want to have a robo-taxi fleet, autonomy. They want to have Optimus and robotics. And they have this theme across the board of artificial intelligence and artificial intelligence in a real world scenario. It seems pretty obvious and it seems like the natural progression. I think we'll hear predictions about how much transformation we are going to see in different industries once the robo-taxi and Optimus bots gets up and running. I think we'll also hear about how many humanoid bots could be in the future, what the ratio is between humans and robots, and then maybe we'll also have some insights as to the scaling and volume production of Optimus and the business plans behind these. I think we may also get some insights into how Tesla are planning to license FSD to other automotive companies at scale across the industry to actually drive autonomy forward. Because obviously Tesla can do this alone and they can try and take majority market share and wipe out other companies. But from studying Tesla, what we see time and time again is they are one of these companies that are willing to help other companies to push forward their mission. They don't really take a selfish approach. We've seen it with the North American charging standard. We've seen it with the supercharging network, which obviously feeds into that. We've seen it with them keeping all of their patents open and so on and so forth. I've read a lot of other predictions from people about this Master Plan 4 over on X, but it seems like what Tesla are now trying to do is actually move towards a transition in society whereby people are gaining convenience and time abundance, and where the labour market will completely change and transform from what we know it to be today. And other things that may be in there is, of course, more about their energy business and also maybe more information about this whole Muskonomy, as people are calling it. The idea about all of his different companies actually working together in some way. And we're already seeing this, his companies do interconnect, they do share technology, they do share resources, they do share ideas. And between these companies, we could actually see them disrupt and dominate many different areas of our life. But like I said, do let me know what your predictions are for this master plan in the comments below. And talking about the next era of Tesla, we know that Optimus is going to play a huge part in that. And we've been hearing Elon's predictions about this for a very long time. However, it's not just Elon that is saying this. Have a listen here as to what the CEO of Nvidia is saying about humanoid robots.
Humanoid robotics will be as common as cars are today. You got to imagine what a car looks like 100 years ago on the street. What a strange instrument going down the street by itself without a horse in front of it. And so I think 100 years from now, it's very clear we'll have humanoid robots everywhere. It will likely be the largest volume mechanical system the world makes.
Won't be another 100 years ahead, right? Won't be that long.
The beautiful thing about vision is you start from the future and then you work your way back. It's a lot easier than starting from the present and work your way forward. Because of course, the future is easier to predict. Next week is very hard to predict. Next year is very hard to predict. But long term is incredibly easy to predict. And so I think working our way back is easy. Now the question is, if it's clear, so mundane, so commonplace in 100 years, when would it become quite commonplace now? Well, the world needs a lot more manufacturing capability. The number of manufacturers in the world is quite low. Labor force is quite short. And as a result, we're going to continue to see inflation. There are many things that a robot can make that no humans can make or safely make. And so there are things that only robots should build. And so I think it's very clear that we need to have robotics technology. The challenge, of course, is the technology itself is incredibly hard. A robot that understands the physical world, that understands the laws of physics, that when it sets this down on a table, it won't go through it, that it could set it down and leave it. It has to understand all of these common sense things that children somehow learned over the years. And so we have to teach these things to AIs.
I see.
And And of course, the common sense, the ability to understand us, all of that technology is evolving very, very quickly. And I think that over the next 2 or 3 years, you're going to see quite significant breakthroughs.
So he is saying there that humanoid robots will become as common as cars are today in the future, and there will be significant breakthroughs in robotics over the next few years. And then Elon posted this. They will be 10 times more common than cars. So if you think about how many cars there are now, and he's predicting that there will be 10 times more robots, more humanoid robots around than there are cars today, that all feeds into this big valuation that we're putting on Tesla, that people are putting on Tesla, as to how crazy the numbers can get if there really are going to be that many humanoid robots in the future. And if Tesla even takes a 10, 20, 30% market share of that, let alone if they take 80%, 90%, that gets absolutely mad. And I've put here as well, there are many companies popping up who are looking into humanoid robots. Number one, that's good because it shows that those companies are also seeing the future and are also seeing the demand and they want a piece of that. But then I've said, but which companies are ready for the volume production and can train them effectively? ... Tesla. We've spoken about this. We speak about this in most videos. That is where Tesla is so different. Their ability to scale and their ability to train them as well. It is a very, very exciting time to be a Tesla investor right now. There are many things coming out all of the time to dive into and research, which is so exciting. But do let me know what you think about this in the comments below. I have recently come across an article called 10 Reasons to Buy Palantir Stock Now. So I want to have a read through this article and we can discuss what we think. Okay, so let's have a look here. Software company Palantir participates in data science, AI and machine learning, the demand for which is off the charts. The company's technology is used in applications like anti-money laundering, automotive and mobility, data protection, defense, federal health, government, financial and much more, demonstrating how versatile their software is. Yes, agnostic. We love that. While tech stocks lead in the broader market higher in 2024, you may be looking to jump on the bandwagon. Investing in Palantir is one way to do that. It isn't a one-trick pony. It's been around for a long haul. It's been around for a long time. People just don't know that. With a $53 billion market cap, Palantir has been recognized as an industry leader in segments like these as following. Rewarding investors with a 41% year-to-date increase in the stock price. Here are 10 reasons why you might want to consider buying Palantir stock now. So number one, co-founder at the helm. Palantir was created in 2003 by several co-founders, including Alex Karp, who has been called sheer brilliant by former CIA Director David Petraeus. Karp, who is CEO, has served in various executive capacities over the year, but one thing that has remained is his presence has been constant for over 2 decades, giving investors a sense of continuity and stability. Karp hasn't taken his foot off the innovation pedal and is confident about the future performance of the company. Okay, so the whole idea of this basically is that Palantir is a founder-led company. One of the founders that were there back in the day is still leading the company today. People have different opinions on how important having a founder-led company is. I don't think that it's the most important thing ever, but I do actually see quite a lot of value in having a founder-led company. So why is it a good thing? Well, number one, founders usually have a long-term perspective and commitment to the company. They've been around the company since the start and they want it to do well in the long term in terms of innovation and growth. They care deeply about this company. It's kind of like their little baby. They want to nurture it. They want to see it grow up well. They're not just there for a season, come in and then go make some money. It's not really like that for them. And also because they've been around for such a long time, they understand the company and more importantly, maybe the industry that the company is in more than anyone else. And Alex Karp, as an example, has seen Palantir transition from just providing software to the government to now having an entire commercial segment that is growing very, very well. They've also been through many hard times with the company. They understand what it takes to get the company out of struggles, and they've come out the other side of that time and time again. And I'm sure this is the case for Palantir as well. And also, they've got the founder's mentality, which is kind of like frontline obsession often. Number 2, Peter Thiel. Most companies billionaire venture capitalist Peter Thiel touches turns to gold, including Palantir. Famous for founding PayPal and receiving a $100 million windfall at the IPO, Thiel is also a co-founder of Palantir, currently serving as chairman. Earlier this year, he sold approximately $175 million of his Palantir holdings, but considering his total holdings prior to selling $3.4 billion, he is still heavily invested in the company. According to Bloomberg, he holds 7% of Palantir, making it the single biggest asset he owns. Okay, so he is one of the co-founders of Palantir, and he has also served as the chairman on the board of directors since 2003. So just like Alex Karp, he has been involved in this company for a very long time. He's had many successes, as this article points out, but some other ones alongside PayPal include Facebook, Airbnb, and SpaceX. So why is this a reason to buy Palantir stock? Well, I don't think it is one of the most important reasons. I definitely don't think that it should be number 2 on this list. There are many other things that we could discuss with Palantir. But he has got credibility. He has got a good track record. But I think their point is that it gives investors a stronger sense of confidence. If he thinks the company's going to do well and he's got a good track record, then maybe it will end up doing well. I guess that's the point they're going with here. We've got to remember as well, he is a man with a lot of connections. He has a big network and he has influence within the tech space and the investment community. And this can open doors for Palantir in terms of partnership, investments, and other opportunities. Number 3, clients and partnerships galore. Palantir requires entire events to unveil its newest customers, bootcamps, and product innovations. At the company's latest AIP Con event, the 4th of its kind over the past 12 months, yes, that's pretty big, they're becoming very frequent, Palantir revealed the newest customers using its software, including high-profile companies like, and you can see here. Another client is Tampa General Hospital, which is using Palantir's data, blah, 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 blah. And the CEO said, Palantir is changing the DNA of our institution. This is obviously a very important thing to know about Palantir. It's a very important reason to invest or not invest in Palantir. Their revenue growth, their client growth, they're bringing in more clients as time goes on. And obviously this then feeds into their top and bottom line, which is important. And they've got a lot of big known companies now wanting to work with them and working with them. And these big companies are likely, we don't always know this, likely to represent more money into Palantir. And also, it's a sense of validation for us investors. Seeing Palantir securing partnerships with really, really well-known, successful and respected companies shows us that Palantir is, effective in what they're doing, which can then eventually draw in more customers, because if a big company is saying Palantir's software has helped us save this much money or done this for our business, more other big customers are likely to look at that and think, you know what, I want a piece of that cake as well. And this is exactly what we're seeing at the AIP Con events. We are hearing positive customer testimonials. And also what this is showing us is industry diversification. They mentioned there just a couple of companies, but Palantir's solutions are now being spread across many, many different verticals, many different sectors, and that is great to see. Number 4, AI affiliation. Palantir is behind its own artificial intelligence platform, AIP. Many companies and government agencies have integrated Palantir's AI tools, and the list is growing. At AIP Con, dozens of companies that use Palantir's AIP volunteered to present to the audience on how they're harnessing the technology. Yeah, and they're not getting paid to do that. They're not getting paid. They want to do that. Palantir's AI events are a home run, helping to drive enterprise sales at a critical juncture in the industry. I think the whole point in this one is they have this product that's relatively new called AIP, and it's in very strong demand. Why is it in demand? Well, because it's making a real difference. It is giving artificial intelligence alongside ontology to actually be useful to enterprises. I keep saying this, but it's not just a nice to have, it's actually changing things. Number 5, revenue growth. In Q1, Palantir generated a revenue of $634 million, a 21% year-over-year increase. Investors should pay attention to the company's commercial revenue, which has been on the rise. This is important because its US government contract sales are not quite what they used to be. So Palantir will need to capture more sales from the enterprise segment to continue its growth trajectory. In Q1, Palantir made $150 million in sales from its commercial segment, a 40% increase year over year. Okay, here's the thing about this one. Yes, they're right. The commercial side of Palantir is growing really well. They have made this common thing that we keep seeing, which is, okay, well, the commercial side's doing while the government side is suffering. I don't really see it like that. I think naturally there will always be one each quarter that comes by whereby, the commercial or the government are doing better than the other. That happens, and it will probably, hopefully, it will continue to be the commercial moving forward, but it has been, either or before. I think they're both doing well, but we also have the argument that we might want to see more revenue growth moving forward. Revenue is a lagging indicator. some companies that are in their early days, our growth companies like Palantir, are seeing better revenue growth than 21% year over year, but it's trending in the right direction. And I think as well, recently, we've had a lot of big government contracts, so I'm really excited to see them show up. Number 6, net income growth. In Q1, Palantir reported record profits of $106 million, the best performance since the company's inception. As Karp explained in an investor letter, for comparison, we now earn more profit in a single quarter than the amount of revenue we generated in an entire year a little more than a decade ago. When I saw that in the letter recently, I love that. That really shows how far they've truly come. Palantir have now delivered 6 consecutive quarters of GAAP profitability. And seeing them become GAAP profitable was a really exciting time in the Palantir investor community. It's like this switch that happens. And of course, they're eligible for the S&P 500 now. Haven't had inclusion yet, but I expect it to come in the future. But just thinking about growing net income in general and achieving record profits, this is directly increasing shareholder value. We should absolutely care about this. We should really, really enjoy seeing the company become more profitable and more financially stable as time goes on. And it's really interesting, isn't it? Because time and time again, retail investors have invested into a company before it's actually showing GAAP profitability. And quite a lot of big funds, institutional money, won't touch those companies before they're GAAP profitable. You know, that's like sort of a rule that they seem to have. And this happened with Palantir, and it happened, I'm sure, with Tesla as well, and many other companies. Number 7, buying opportunity. While Palantir stock is trading at a frothy valuation that is typical for growth stocks, in early May, Palantir stock dipped by approximately 16% in response to a revenue forecast that fell below Wall Street's bullish estimates. Yes, I don't know how justified that was, but also we have had 2 good examples in February and in May, was it? I don't know, February, whatever, whereby after earnings, the stock went crazy up because the earnings were just so good. But Palantir has a habit of beating estimates, so the company could just be playing it cool for now. In the short term, Palantir's Q2 revenue forecast is in the range of this, while its full year outlook is this. Long-term forecasts are even more bullish, including predictions for revenue to rise a whopping 150% over the next 5 years, or a compound annual growth rate of 30% through 2028. Considering revenue is a driver of earnings growth, this forecast performance should underpin the rising Palantir stock price. Yes, there was quite a fall after the May earnings because they didn't increase guidance as much as the market wanted. I thought that was a good buying opportunity. I was buying more there. I wasn't seeing any problems in the underlying fundamental business. But Karp has recently actually said all the value in the market will go to chips and ontology. We've already kind of seen the value go towards chips in terms of we've seen Nvidia go absolutely crazy. Is it going to now be time to see money move into the companies actually providing ontology and pairing ontology with LLMs to actually allow enterprises to use it, refine it, and imposing that onto your enterprise whilst upholding the highest levels of security? Obviously, we've also seen Palantir in the recent few days, Palantir stock go up a lot in the recent few days, which you can watch my yesterday's video if you want to know why that's been happening. But people are saying now, is it too overvalued? Is it trading at too much of a premium? Let me know what you think about that in the comments below. Number 8, customer list. Palantir has an impressive customer list, one that includes US government agencies like the FBI, FDA, NSA, CIA, as well as other government agencies. In fact, the US government is Palantir's largest client and has been relying on the company's data to guide their decisions for years. Palantir recently inked a 5-year partnership with the US Department of Defense worth a cool $480 million. Yeah, that was a pretty big deal. While new competitors have entered the fray for government contracts, Palantir continues to win over clients in the private sector. 3 recent additions include these companies here, all of which signed for Palantir's AI capabilities. The thing with government contracts is they're often very long-term contracts and they're providing sticky revenue, giving Palantir somewhat of revenue stability. This is really, really beneficial. And also, it shows us the credibility of Palantir and just how trustworthy they are because government organizations wouldn't just work with anyone. And this then feeds into the fact that Palantir are one of only 3 companies in the entire world to have impact level 6 clearance. And this is definitely a reason that I invest into Palantir, how diversified their customer list is. Like I said, agnostic across many segments, and they have their government side and their commercial side, so there's diversification in their revenue streams as well. Let's move on to the last 2. Stock momentum. Palantir stock has soared 200% over the past 12 months. While most Wall Street analysts are cautious on Palantir, owing to its rich valuation, the stock has momentum on its side. Generative AI, including chatbot demand, isn't going to subside anytime soon. They are not just giving chatbot solutions. They're doing much more than that. As companies and governments alike continue to invest heavily in this area, Palantir has established history with government agencies and are now focusing on expanding the government enterprise business, which is likely to continue growth and drive the share price up more in the future. Yeah, I think this is important. I think this whole AI revolution is happening. But I think more importantly than that is it's had a lot of hype, right? And a lot of companies that provide AI solutions in any capacity have done well. We're going to see this sort of shift. We're going to see money move from companies that are providing AI solutions that are more like chatbots, soft AI, not really being that useful, into companies like Palantir that are actually making a difference to the enterprise. I think that's what we're going to see happen. And Palantir are obviously positioning themselves really well for this. But I do think the general trend is artificial intelligence, and every enterprise is rising their the amount that they're willing to spend on this. And then lastly, potential S&P 500 inclusion. I won't read this one because we know about this. They haven't been included yet. They are eligible. It's just a matter of time. It will probably rise the stock price in the short term especially. But more importantly than that, it's just a really big thing for a company to be added to an index like the S&P 500. It's a big milestone to hit, and it will bring in a lot of institutional money as well. Let me know what your top 3 reasons are for investing into Palantir in the comments below. In other news, Nvidia has once again become the largest company in the world. You can see here it is now in first place above Microsoft and above Apple with a market cap of $3.335 trillion. In my opinion, this is absolutely deserved. Nvidia have been doing so well. Obviously, it's been helped by the whole AI revolution that has been happening, but they're a great company with great leadership and great execution skills. The second market news is this right here. The UK's main stock market, called the London Stock Exchange, has regained its position as Europe's most valuable stock market for the first time in nearly 2 years, with a total value of $3.18 trillion, surpassing Paris's, which is $3.13 trillion. Now, personally, this is great to see, but I'm personally still a little bit concerned about the lack of innovation that we're seeing in the UK. And also how, many companies are actually moving away from being listed on the London Stock Exchange. This seems to be a good thing though, so we'll just keep an eye on it in the future. And we've got a third piece of news now relating to Amazon. Now, Amazon's pharmacy first launched in 2020, but they are now expanding. They are expanding their RX Pass subscription service to include over 50 million Medicare beneficiaries who are also Prime members. So now for $5 a month, subscribers will be able to access 60 common medications with free home delivery and 24/7 pharmacist support. I think the whole point in this move from Amazon is to lure customers away from established pharmacies, the likes of CVS and Walgreens. And it also looks like maybe Amazon will start disrupting the space that Hims Health are building out. From what I can tell, this is only a US rollout at the moment, but the market does seem to be reacting quite well to this, and it will be interesting to see what sort of opportunity they carve out for themselves in this space in the future. On the screen now are the topics that we're going to talk about exclusively on the Vault this week. And if you're a Vault member, I'm going to continue this episode and talk more about Tesla today. If you're not a Vault member, thank you so much for watching this episode, and I'll see you in tomorrow's. If you want to watch these episodes ad-free, get exclusive and extended content and a bunch of other perks, become an insider of the Inner Circle Vault. Link in the description.